welcome back guys to another awesome tutorial. I'm your host BliskinX, and today we're going to be looking at Godot. That's right. Now Godot has been on my list of to-dos for quite some time. I've been dabbling with Godot for the last couple of months, just slowly understanding the engine itself. But what really got me excited about Godot is the fact that it's an open source, free-based engine. And I am a big believer in not only blockchain technology, but as well as the open source mindset. And I just love what they're currently doing, and hence why I've decided to slowly transcend across. I am still a very aggressive Unity developer, but I do love making use of Godot as well. So today's video is going to be about Godot. If you haven't already checked it, here's a link in the description down below for those of you that are keen. Go and check it out. You really have nothing to lose. The great thing about Godot is the similarities between that and Unity, as well as the fact that I find that I'm actually a lot more productive on Godot at times, because the things that would normally take me, let's say player movability, things that would normally take me a little bit longer to do in Unity often is 4 times, 5 times the pace on Godot. Just the way that things are streamlined, a little bit easier to understand, as well as a bit more user-friendly, if you personally asked me. Both are great engines, don't be fooled. Unity is a very aggressive 3D-based engine, in which now it's 2D as well, has become remarkable. But Godot, somehow, it's just slowly winning the heart over, and I would not give it justice if I didn't do a video on it. So today we're going to be focusing purely on that. So I'm going to go ahead and just close that down, and I've got myself an empty project with regards to the Godot engine, and I've selected the 2D. I'm now going to select, obviously Godot works with nodes, so we'll slowly, I'll sort of try and take you through the path of the difference and the similarities in Unity as I build this with you guys, just to show you how similar things actually are. So first you're going to go ahead and select the 2D. I'm going to rename this to our world for now, and that is our first node, our starting node. Now what I have gone and done is in the project settings, I do strongly suggest that down on the display that you go and set your heights, as well as if you're doing a 2D pixel, go and set that to stretched in terms of what it is that you're going to be doing. I don't know if you are going to do a pixel art game or not, but I've gone ahead and set mine to 320 by 180, which is the normal size for a pixel art based game. Okay, so now that we've gone ahead and done that, we're going to go ahead and add ourselves a new player. Now to do that, we just right click over here on the left hand side plus button, and we're going to look for Chromatic. Now I'm not going to be making use of the static or the rigid body 2D, because that would work with physics. Chromatic body 2D would work with code, so I'm going to go ahead and just create one of those, and I'm going to go ahead then and rename this to player. Right. Then I'm going to go ahead and add an animated sprite. Now you can make use of sprite. I do prefer making use of the animated sprites here, so I'm going to add a child node, and I'm going to type in sprite, and then I'm going to select animated sprite. Now I did go ahead and download some free assets. I've got my little hero here, you could say. So I'm going to go ahead and select his walk down. I could just select his idle as well, doesn't really matter. And then I'm going to select on the right hand side here, you'll see frames. I'm going to say new sprite frame. This I'm just going to double click, and it should bring up the animated box down below. I'm going to go ahead and just rename this to idle underscore front, so we know that that is the front idle. And then I'm going to go ahead and drop this straight in. Okay, so there is our current player, and obviously our kinematic body. Okay, so before I go ahead and add I'm going to go ahead and just play that just to show you what that looks like. I'm going to click allow access. Now you'll see he's slightly chopped off down on the left hand side. That's because he's outside of the viewer frame here. So I'm going to go ahead and select the node here. It's vital to select not the sprite itself, but select the node, and then just check this, make sure objects are selectable, children objects, and then I'm going to go ahead and drag that straight in. Okay, often if you just click on the animated sprite, if you pull that through, you end up actually pulling it away from the kinematic body. Okay, so now that we have that, there is our little player. We can go ahead and file save that and view and see what that looks like, and there he currently is, but obviously he has no movability. So let's go ahead and right click over here on the player rigid body, kinematic body, sorry, and we're going to go ahead and say attach script. And yeah, I'm going to call mine player, which is by default. So yeah, I'm going to go with player GD, which is a GDScript. You can make use of the Visual Script for those that want to make use of a different base language, but I suggest working with the GDScript for now, because that's the one that's got the most, you could say, development at present. Right, so you'll see we presented now with our empty player script. Now, I do quite like what Godot is doing here with regards to the internal built-in IDE. Very similar to what Construct, and a few others have done, keeping you within the program itself. Often it's confusing and top-down heavy if you're having to install other libraries and other IDEs such as Notepad++ or Sublime or your Visual Studio Code, whatever your choice of preference is. It gets pretty intense. So same as Xcode for Apple, everything's built in, which I quite enjoy and quite accustomed to. So I did like this. Right, the next thing is getting used to the different, you could say, code. Theoretically, the syntaxes are different, the structure is slightly different, but everything's very much the same. You'll see the starting functions function ready, which is very much like our void start in Unity. Same in Swift as well. Very, very much the same, but yet slightly different. So you'll see syntaxes, closing off functions with a semicolon. That's not done here. This is very close to more of a Python-based, also a Swift-based. And I quite like that because it's a lot tidier and a lot quicker. So using this function, for argument's sake, function ready, here you can see it's just func opposed to function. So it's got its merits. You'll get used to it that commenting out uses hash opposed to the double forward slashes. But I like it. So it's just watch out for that. It takes a little bit getting used to, but I can promise you a day or two in and you familiarize yourself. So the things we're going to need to do is very similar to what we did in Construct. We need to make 3 constant variables, which are going to be our acceleration, our max speed, and then also our deceleration. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. So I'm going to go constant. And the nice thing about this IDE is if you make a mistake, it sort of red lines it. You see there with the red it'll tell me I cannot go further until I can actually correct what's wrong above. So I love that. So I'm going to go acceleration, and I'm going to set that to 450. Okay, and then I'm going to do another one, which will be const. And you can just tag yourself across max, and I'm going to call that speed. Keeping it all high case is good programming structure. Talk about high case there, I'm caught with it. Right, and max speed, and I'm going to set that to, let's go 100. And then I'm going to go const, and use this as our deceleration. And I'm going to set that to 450 as well. Right, fantastic. Now I need to go and set the vector to. Now this is very much like Unity, so the y and the x-axis. So I'm going to set this one to, I'm going to go var, I'm going to say, let's call this movement. Movement, only because we use it, stop it. Movement, because we use that same naming convention in our Unity. So I'm going to go vector, I think it's vector 2, and I'm going to set that to 0. Also higher case. If I set that to lowercase and I went under, you'll notice that it would go red eventually if I start typing here, because it will say that there is an error over there. There it comes now. So it won't allow me to code. Well, it'll allow me to code, but it will just tell me that there's a problem. So it won't prompt you the IDE libraries. So I'm going to code that to 0. And I'm going to jump down. Now notice that I don't use the semicolons like in Unity to close off. Right. So I'm going to go back to function, our first function, and we're going to use the physics processing delta function. Right, that is going to sort of manage our movement. So we're going to go func, and we're going to go underscore physics, and it should just pop up. There it is, physics delta, and we're going to drop down. Now you notice that it's tabbed you in. This is to say, now look, you're inside this function, which is pretty cool. Right, so yeah, we're going to go var, and I'm going to go ahead and just delete the function ready because we're not going to use that. It's just taking up the space on the screen here. So I'm going to go. Now I'm going to set the player movement, or the player you could say. So I'm going to go here, player input rather. So let's go var, and we're going to go player underscore input, because that's what we're going to be getting. And I'm going to set that to the vector 2 as well. Vector 2, that's 0. And now we can work with that. Right, so now that we have that set, we can go ahead and set the player input. So let's start with the x-axis. So we're going to go player input.x, and that we're going to set to the input, I think it's input.get, and we're going to be making use of the action strength, and that would be the, let's close that off, and that would be the UI right key in this case. So we're going to go UI right, and then we're going to subtract that with the input on the opposite side, so that'll be input dot get, and we're going to make use of the action strength again. And here we're going to use the UI underscore left. Great. And then we can do the same for player underscore input, and that is going to be the dot y. And that's going to equal again. In fact, I'm just going to copy that just to speed this up. So let's just go ahead and copy that across. I'm going to type it all out again. Right, and we can just change it to y, and that's going to be UI then next thing we just need to obviously normalize the input. So let's go ahead and let's just go player underscore input and go player and just set that vector to normalized. It should come up normalized. Surprised it didn't. Input normalized. There we go. Great. And then just an if statement. We're going to go if player. Now we can check obviously if it's 0, and then we know that he has to sort of stand still, and then the opposite obviously will make sure that he is moving. So yeah, we're going to go player underscore input. So we're looking for the input now. Input is not equal to vector 2.0. 0. Not too sure why that is giving me an error. And I think it's because I didn't tab down correctly. I'm outside of the function. You see that I'm outside the function here? And that's why it's giving me an error. Now it should go away, this error, because now I'm back inside this function by tabbing myself in. So it does get you sort of getting used to when working like that. But let's see what it does. So if is not equal to, now that should be fine. I'll just drop one down, yeah? No, definitely still an error there. Oh, there it is. Right, so if player input is not equal to a vector 2 dot 0, saying if there is if it's not equal to 0, so in other words, if he is moving, go ahead and move him. So we're going to go movement, which is the variable that we set higher up over here. So movement, and we're going to say equals movement dot, and this we're going to make use of the move towards, and yeah, we're going to put in the player input, and we're going to multiply that by the max speed. So that will be max speed, and then also set the acceleration, and we're going to times that by delta, obviously. So we're going to take the last time and multiply that by the second that it was from the previous delta, from the previous second. And then we can jump down and say tab back in and go else, and close it off like that, drop that down, and then we can go movement equals basically again movement, and then we're going to move towards, and yeah, we're going to go the vector, because we can set it to 0 because we know it is vector 2.0, and the deacceleration would be deacceleration, and we will times that by delta. Fantastic, and that should be our function. And then the last thing is we need to make use of the move and collide, and that'll be move underscore and collide, and we will set the movement, and that would be times delta, and this should be that. Right, so let's just double check. So we've set obviously the vector there, the y and x axis to which we're going to move towards. We've got our acceleration, our constant variables. We go ahead and get the player inputs. We normalize it then afterwards. Then we go and force the inputs based on the max speed acceleration. And if he's not moving, we go and set it to 0 and we deaccelerate down to 0 opposed to him stopping dead still. Great, so I'm going to go ahead and just run that. I could have some errors here. So arrow keys, so yep, definitely working great. The up is not working, so let's go and take a look and see why that is not. UI, and there's my problem. I've got the full stop, so I'll go ahead and just do that, and then run that again, and that should be good to go. Fantastic, I actually like that. Looks quite cool. Alright guys, so that is it for our video today. I mean, we're going to be working with the animations in our next and upcoming video. As I said, it's not going to be a series based, but I will be covering the small bits as I sort of progress through this. I'm also going to be participating in next week's game jam, so I might be doing a top down. It all depends. It's going to be an internal game jam with a few friends. So in this case, I will probably be making use of the Godot engine and then just showing you guys what it is we're going to be doing over that week, which is going to be quite exciting. So yeah, if you're new to this channel, we'd awesomely appreciate the subscribe and a little thumbs up there. We love it. And if you've got any feedback, just hit them down in the comments below, and I'm sure I'll get to them as soon as I can. Right, guys, I'll catch you guys in the next one.